bronze medalist. And a bronze medalist with the ball in the Tashkent World Cup. A silver medalist in Sofia. As a routine, it is discordant and hard, but in a very good way. It's a very entertaining and engaging routine. It takes a very fine gymnast to make music like that work. But Harnasko's reaction at the conclusion of the routine is evidence of the fact that there were some things that did not go according to plan. Backwards walkover catch was secure. Penché turn was well established. Noticeable problem. She adjusted quickly from it. The rebound catch to conclude the routine. Nonetheless, some costly execution deductions. As mentioned before, it could be about half a mark for loss and retrieval without having to travel. And even if you do manage to catch the apparatus, but you take some steps, can be a similar deduction, half a mark or so. All of this mandated by the code of points and applied by the judges. 25.9 is Harnasko's score. She's down by a mark and a half from her qualification performance. Japan's Chisaki OIWA, the 8th strongest qualifier. The young gymnast from Tokyo, and she's performed so well in the qualification process. Very strange boy. They say he wandered very far, over land and sea. does minimise to a degree the deduction by holding the apparatus at the end of the routine. And lose a full mark for not having the apparatus under control right at the end, but a fair few problems for OIWA in that display. We have to bear in mind that this is a little bit like the morning after the party, I suppose, for the Japanese athlete, because her final really was yesterday. She was aiming for Olympic qualification. Just about held that behind the body. She's got some lovely pirouettes. Isn't her split pirouette quite exquisite?
And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And
pressure that this young athlete has been experiencing, trying to fight for an Olympic qualification berth this way. And it is a non-nominative spot for her because Japan's already qualified one athlete to the Games. This is all getting a little bit, please see subsection 4, paragraph 27.5, but the process for OIWA is a little more complicated. It's not a guaranteed spot for her. It would be a spot for Japan that she would be a good contender to take. But wow, she's shown some fortitude in the first half of this year. The reason for Japan already having one space secured at the Games is courtesy of Kaho Minagawa. Gymnast who enjoyed a very fine World Championships in Pesaro in 2017. I'm sure many of you remember it. A great success, the Japanese gymnast. Making her way onto the podium. She was a bronze medalist with the hoop. The same part of Japan as OIWA, who has a 23.95. So she has lost over a mark and a third from qualification. Linoy ASHRAM, silver medalist in the hoop competition. That was her 52nd career World Cup medal. 28.05 her score qualifying for this final. It's a statement routine, isn't it, with that orchestration? Big in Japan, indeed. Linoy ASHRAM, third strongest in qualification. She has some bold catches of the apparatus in this routine. Works unsighted a lot. That's a great way to build her difficulty. 19.1 was her difficulty in qualification. Strings together the leaps beautifully. It's always been one of her trademarks as an
When
athlete.
you're big in Japan tonight, big in Japan, be tight, big in Japan.
It's made to look incredibly simple control of that apparatus. But it really is not. That's a difficult track to finish the routine. It works well. Manages to make it look artistic too. That's all you need, isn't it? Somebody to come colliding into the sofa and knock an Olympic gymnast over. Oh dear. Better that than being hit by a medal, being swung by a drone. Which I suppose it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another, really. If you watch the Baku World Cup and indeed the recent aerobic gymnastics World Championships, you'll know what I'm talking about. All the medals being carried by drones. It was remarkable. Now, 28.55 for Linoy ASHRAM. She gains half a mark from the qualification process. That's a very positive performance. Top qualifier was Arina AVERINA. Her difficulty score was 19.9, execution 9.2, a cracking 29.1. It is a huge routine. There is no apparatus final at the Olympic Games. There's an all-around competition as we look at this extraordinary start with the attitude pirouettes and derrière position. As I was saying, no apparatus final, only the all-around competition, all four apparatuses added together, and this has big scoring potential. Toe point is fantastic in the reach over the head. Secure pirouetting. But moments that will carry clear execution deduction. But in terms of the difficulty that she can actually acquire in this routine, it's quite extraordinary. It's quite a statement. Not sure what the statement is, but it certainly was one. leading the way thus far. It is Linoy ASHRAM. It remains thus 28.1. Arina AVERINA loses a full mark from her qualification score. Most interesting, there were certainly some evident moments where the apparatus was not fully under control. So Laura ZENG, 7th strongest in qualification, just finished 6th in the hoop final. Been a positive couple earning the USA along with her teammates. Very strong representation at the Olympic Games. USA delighted to earn 2 quota places. This is the front attitude position, then going into retiré, which is a nice combination. The front attitude, as mentioned before, is much more commonly seen in aerobic and artistic gymnastics. Very commonly seen in artistic gymnastics. There, the fouette turn that is very much a bedrock of the work of the rhythmic gymnast. Enormous strength to control the apparatus like that. She made a small adjustment, which was well disguised to control the catch at the end.
Ciao, ciao.
Madame.
Oh, thank you.
So we await Laura Zeng's score. It's 25.75. And that for Zeng is an improvement on her qualification performance by a 10. She's improved from both qualification routines to the finals here in Pesaro. It's the last time we'll see her this weekend. And we now look at Dina AVERINA, 2nd strongest in qualification with a score of 29. She's just won the hoop competition. She has some very big unsighted work with the apparatus in that routine. Looked not entirely satisfied with herself nonetheless. Let's go back and scrutinise this in a little more detail. Just the slightest hint of a little oscillation in her pirouetting there. Very mild. Very secure in scale. This is a mighty difficult track, and it was so secure. Adjustment, if any. Just packing so much into the last moments of the routine. And it does feel, does it not, like the right sort of orchestration for a competition in a place like Pesaro, birthplace of Rossini, and a centre of classical performance and opera for so many years. The city itself is in the province of Pesaro e Urbino in the region of Marche in the northeast of Italy, right on the shores of the Adriatic. Across the water and you'll be in Croatia, the border of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro and Albania to the south, the Adriatic containing over 1,300 islands. .28 is the score for Dina AVERINA, and that means that Linoy ASHRAM maintains her place at the top of the leaderboard. So it's Linoy ASHRAM, Arina AVERINA, Dina AVERINA. Both of the Averinas losing a full mark each in their routines. It's our second opportunity to look at Israel's Nicol ZELIKMAN, 20-year-old whose parents are actually from Baku in Azerbaijan. Sixth strongest qualifier. Linoy ASHRAM really are the best of pals, and they've spoken at length about how much they support each other out on the road, how much it's helped them to push each other, to drive each other to be better. And it was really for ZELIKMAN in Portimao in 2018 where she excelled in a World Cup competition, winning the ball. Still her only World Cup title. Good posture as she established the fouette turns. Dynamic balance work with, again, striking toe point. It's important the gymnasts demonstrate their ability to switch between balance positions. And she controlled the end of that routine well, Zelikman. The trajectory was just a touch off with the ball, but she got to the right position. Nothing to see here, all perfectly normal. It's a crowded market at the moment. Can Nicol ZELIKMAN get up towards those top scores? It's got to be a score of 28 plus to contend. Maybe she can do it. We'll need a jump up of about 3/4 of a mark for qualification though.
Per l'esercizio con la palla di Dina AVERINA, Russia.
Now, I think here, if my Italian is good enough, there's an inquiry. Dina AVERINA. Could have just waited for the English announcement there, couldn't I, rather than sticking my neck out and seeing if I could remember my Italian from university. But yes, Dina AVERINA has made an inquiry to her difficulty score. Now, I'm sure many of you know the gymnasts cannot query the execution. They can query the difficulty. And why she is querying it is because she was given 18.9 for difficulty versus 19.8 in qualifying. So she is obviously hopeful of an accumulation of unspotted difficulty there. So the superior jury will now look at this. The inquiries must be timely. Coaches have got to have the paperwork ready to submit promptly after the score comes in. Interesting how often one sees very experienced coaches get undone by not having the bit of paper to hand. I'm sure there are a few of you out there who've been at competitions when you've seen coaches scuttling around, crying out for a pen. But the difficulty score of Dina AVERINA is being reviewed. Even a change of a tenth would put her in the joint silver medal position with Arina AVERINA, because in the case of a tied score, you go to the execution tiebreak and they are level on 9.1. Should point out the score can not just be unchanged, it can go down when you put an inquiry in. There have been occasions of that happening. It happens perhaps slightly more commonly in the sport of artistic gymnastics. Inquiry in process. Is there going to be any joy for the Russian Federation's Dina AVERINA? She said she spent much of the lockdown doing jigsaws, making collages, drawing pictures. If you're watching at home, you can do some of those things now whilst we wait for the score to come in. Start a collage, why don't you? Yes, the Averina said they drew and drew and drew until the marker pens ran out. Of course, if you're an Averina, you do something properly, don't you? Can't imagine them doing things by halves. Yes, it's their time to shine now, isn't it? Whilst we wait for the score to come in. This is what is being looked at. This is the chance that the judges have to review the routine. They only get the opportunity to do this when the inquiry is submitted, otherwise the routine is judged in real time. There's lots of nodding, pointing. Yes, if you're playing inquiry bingo right now, we've had the next bit, which is when people come and crowd around the screen. All we need now is somebody from IT to start wiggling a few cables around and shaking the monitor. And then we know it's a proper gymnastics inquiry. So whilst all this is going on, we're waiting on the score for Nicol ZELIKMAN as well. And then we still have the performance of Anastasiia SALOS. Plenty of animated conversation. And still, we are none the wiser. Well, if you're just joining this World Cup of Rhythmic Gymnastics, then you picked the best possible time to join the action. There's nothing at all happening. Even the president of the International Gymnastics Federation is a little bored.
Еще подготовились, еще лучше.
The exercise at ball for Dina AVERINA, Russia, has been accepted.
Right, so the score has changed for Dina AVERINA. It's just that we don't know what it's changed to. So, a touch of mystery. We'll leave that hanging in the air as we wait for that and the score for Nicol ZELIKMAN to come in. Next up, Anastasiia SALOS of Belarus. She's the final competitor in the ball final, and then we will attempt to give you some clarification on the numeracy. Salos 27.3 in qualification, 5th best.